what I'm hearing you say is, if I want to increase student talk, I don't want to increase the amount of time direct instruction is lasting.
Correct, I think that's a good
Okay.
summary.
So, I guess in that vein then, are you happy with the 31% of student talk in direct instruction in 11 minutes? Do you want to increase that more?
I think 31%, the 30%, whatever, like that's reasonable. I think the level of conversation was not great.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning, when I watch the video, I see kids just sort of like sitting and staring,
Mhm.
right? So like, here's a question, turn and talk, and then
Right.
they just like sit there. They're being like basically compliant in the like, if they're talking about what I asked them to, basically.
Right.
But not everybody is like doing the thing as I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, like, I have to move on, and so like, I hear myself having a conversation with a kid over here, and I'm doing the part where I'm looking for an exemplar to share it out,
Mhm.
and that part's working, but like, it's definitely not happening where every single kid is talking with somebody else about that given question to like drive their thinking.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing, and that's a little bit of a pivot from teacher versus student talk. Because when I look at this, to be honest with you, in a direct instruction setting, I'm thinking the max would be 40-60, because you're
Yeah.
explaining something.
Right.
And 31% is pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, especially when we know later in your lesson, there's a collaborative thing
Mhm.
happening, students are talking to each other, building something together.
Yeah.
That seems pretty comfortable for me. And so, the idea that you're pivoting towards, how many students are having a conversation actually in these planned turn-in talks during my direct instruction, what is the quality of conversation, seems reasonable. Is it just the number of students talking that we want to work on first? Like, every student engages in conversation, is on task in conversation, or do you want to talk about the quality of the conversation itself?
So I think, I wanna talk about both. It was hard to see in the video, and so from a logistics standpoint, on that second part is I think more observational from you
Mhm.
in your, and then this conversation than what we see in the video probably.
Right.
Because it just doesn't pick up all of it.
Right.
And so, but we were in Fox's room with the U-shape, and I just see Alonzo right there, and he's just sitting there, you know? And
Right.
so that is, the first step is that everybody needs to be talking.
Right.
So.
Let's go back to the video then, because I think
Okay.
we can set a baseline. We can see a baseline and set a goal on, if we just look at the video really quick.
Mhm.
And we can zoom up to that first turn and talk, and then the second turn and talk, and just count literally how many kids we see actually having a conversation.
What? That would be tight. In what way would it be tight?
Please zoom up to the turn and talk. I think we have the timestamps in your tracker.
Your government of tightness, what would that sound like? What would that look like? What?
It'd be the planned turn and talks would be 9-10.
Definitely not like Trump. Okay, so would we have,
Probably a little bit before that. It'll get us close.
okay. So, it's on your paper on the bottom. And I'll put it back up here on the board as well. But you're gonna turn and talk at your table in just a second. Turn and talk. What is this picture showing us? What does this picture mean about checks and balances? After we just wrote those 3 boxes. Go, talk at your tables, please. What does that picture mean?
Okay, so those three are obviously talking about it. He looks like he's not having an on-task conversation, but he's talking with Coral. Alan is sitting and staring into space.
Right there, yes.
Marco's got his head down.
Is this one of your students?
Yes,
Is that Marco?
I think that's Marco, yeah.
Who's this?
That's Raul.
Okay, so he's not participating either, and they've basically stopped already.
Yeah,
Um,
and so I've got Jesus talking there, yeah, I got a P whatever, and Adriana's got her head down right there.
Okay.
so let's pause it really quick. How many students visible do we have?
The talking, or
Yeah,
the total students visible?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And we can't see her enough to really tell, so
Okay.
let's just say 11.
Okay.
So out of those 11, how many do you feel comfortable saying participated in the Turn and Talk?
3, 4, 5. 5.
Okay, so 5 of 11.
Yeah.
So we're planning this intentional time for student talk, but the number of students is at 5.
Correct.
Okay, let's do the second Turn and Talk really quick, just to see if that's a similar space, and that will be a little bit further. It will be like 11, 19.
Yep.
Just go to 11.
First three are the same, fourth is different. It says, why do we have it? So after you've done all of this work, you're gonna talk as a group about why we have that thing. So next, you just did all this work for your checks and balances. So to complete your last box, talk with the person next to you about why we would have a system like this. Why would we have a system?
Sorry hearing myself
of checks
shouting.
and balances? Next to you, to try to get your answer for your last box in the first row. Go. Why would we have them? Yes, Mark. Please, let me start with you. Very soon, okay? All right. Roll, what do you think? Why?
So,
Number participating.
yeah, I think now they're definitely not anymore. He just ate something. But, and then the others are the same. And so like, I think both times he just wrote it down himself and just didn't care. And then I like called on him and so he had the right answer, but like he didn't do the talking with Marco or
Right.
anyone else there. And so it's like in the video, just this group here, which is 3.
3. Yeah. Cool, so that kind of gives us a baseline, and I guess ideally, what do you want to see? And I want to make sure, so a peers goal, the P and the E stand for powerful,
Yeah.
like this is gonna affect student achievement, we really believe that this helps students
Right.
to talk. E is emotionally compelling, so before we move on, like, do you think, like, working on the number of students actually participating is gonna be powerful? And 2, is it emotionally compelling for you? Is this something you wanna work on? I don't wanna dive too far into this and then it's not really something that you
Yeah.
wanna work on.
Yeah, no, I think it is important that if you're like going to do an interactive protocol, you need kids to
Right.
actually interact
Yeah.
for it to be effective.
Yeah. Cool, so the second E, PE, it's a peers goal. E, the first E there stands for easy, which means that it's like simple. We don't wanna create a really complex goal, something that's easy to understand and simple, and the R stands for something that's reachable. So
Yeah.
something that we can verifiably say, yes, we met this goal.
Okay.
So, we have 5 out of 11, we could convert that into a percent, and 3 out of 11, we're somewhere around like 30 to 40% of kids doing this right now. What would you like to see in terms of the number of students actually participating?
Well, I mean, like, this would not be the goal, but I would like to, that I could set that's reachable next week, but I would like to see 100% of like just, especially something that's like low stakes like that.
Yeah.
Conversation, talk, and then like I can look and everybody's having that conversation.
Right.
For what's reachable for like a goal next week, I think
So,
more.
just to
Go ahead.
clarify, it wouldn't be next week, we're shooting for the
Got it.
end of this 6-week cycle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then, end of the 6-week cycle, 80, 90?
Okay, let's stick with 80, and we
Okay.
can adjust the goal at any point in time.
Yeah.
So say we choose a teaching strategy, we learn about it next week,
Yeah.
and then 2 weeks from now we hit 80, boom, we can adjust that goal.
Okay.
And move it up, and part of this meeting, every single time I'm going to ask you, is this still something you want to work on? Do you want to change this goal?
Got it. Okay.
So we can adjust the goal. What I don't want to do is set a goal that's 90% and then we just get frustrated and we kind of hit this wall
Uh-huh.
and we're not happy.
Yep.
So 80% feels pretty reachable to you?
Yep.
Okay, so.
I mean, in 6 weeks' time.
Yeah, and let me just kind of, do you have your action step thing?
And I also like that,